The last thing I want to do this morning is I want to introduce you to a couple. So if Chris and Casey would come up to the stage, why don't you give them a round of applause, please? You don't have no idea who these people are. But Chris, I'm going to throw it straight over to you. Why don't you introduce yourself to these lovely people?
Yeah, so hi, my name is Chris. I'm from Nelspruit. By my accent, you should know that. Yeah, no, I'm kidding. We're from White River. No, actually, Tennessee. So I come from Tennessee. This is my son, Lefa. He's grade 6 at Pinehurst.
And an excellent rugby player, just by the way.
Excellent rugby player, yeah. And then this is my beautiful wife, Casey. She comes from Texas, which is the second greatest state behind Tennessee. And then this little time bomb here is Benjamin. And so the elephant in the room is this. All the women in the room are saying, look at that cute baby up there. And all the men in the room are stressed because you're trying to figure out when this baby's going to cry. So I just want you to know, man, I'm in the same boat. How long are we going to get with this? So...
Yeah, so Chris and Casey have been around for a while. You may have seen him. Apparently the moustache is not a Movember thing. That's like...
This is a sign of commitment and dedication.
Yeah. I will say more on the part of Casey than yours, right? But Chris and Casey have been around for a while, and one of the things that's interesting is about a year ago, I in jest said, hey, someone asked me, hey, what's going to be next for us at South Point? I was like, we should go plant another church, and God took me seriously, apparently, and so Chris and Casey arrived. And so Chris, tell us a little bit about your story about Nelspruit, how you guys met, and then ended up coming to Cape Town, and why you're in Cape Town.
Yeah, so in 2013, I quit my job. I officially retired from a great job in the construction industry in the States. Everybody around me told me I was crazy, and I followed God's calling to become a missionary and move to South Africa. So I moved to Nelspruit, and I worked in townships, and we ran an NGO, and we did relief work in there. And so that's what ended up bringing me here. Background in construction and logistics, and then came over to be a country director. And then I met Casey.
I came in 2010. Previously in America, I was a marriage and family therapist, and I worked to make families stronger and worked with in crisis counseling with hurricane survivors. And God called me to learn more about how to make families stronger here in South Africa. And he did that by making me Lefa's mom first. So that was my first great family surprise. And then a few years later, Chris Ladd walked into my life, and we became a bigger family.
Yeah. So when we got married, God surprised us and said, hey, Chris, I know I called you to build the church, but it's not in the way that you're doing it through an NGO. I want you to actually go start and plant a church. And so we pulled up a map of South Africa, and God called us to Cape Town. I'd never been here. I was too enchanted with Mozambique and Zimbabwe and things like that, so I'd never actually been to Cape Town, and God called us here to plant a church, and 3 years ago we moved here and started that journey.
Yeah. And so we started having coffee, and some of you might not know this, but Chris and Casey have already been adding a lot of value to what we do here at South Point. And I've got them up on stage today because we're still trying to figure out our relationship as how this is going to work, because we've never done this before. But at some point, Chris and Casey, we're kind of going to kick them out of the nest and be like, hey, go plant a church. But up until that point, we want to try and encourage them, try and equip them as much as possible. As Chris said, he's never planted a church before, and so he's learning as much as we are, and so we're kind of on this journey together. And I don't know, Chris, do you want to add anything to that?
A funny thing about our first conversation, I sat down with Morgan, and we'd spent 2 years meeting with other churches in the city, and I finally sat down with Morgan, and he said, okay, tell me about your preaching style. And I said, I don't know, I've never preached. And so that should have been a red flag to your leadership, that the person that God called to plant a church has never actually preached. But there was truth to that. And what God has done is he's taught Casey and I through a real humbling couple years that we need to serve one before we build one. And the reason that we're on this stage today is two main reasons. Reason number one, we needed a family. We needed a local church family. We have tons of support in the States. We know a lot of people. Sure, that ticks all those boxes, but the box that we hadn't ticked yet is a local church family. And so we went on search for that. And the second reason that we're up here is because your church is led by exceptional people who took a risk on us and said, hey, we'll be your family. And so you guys have done that. from your leadership to, I'm looking at Rich over here, who is like a grandfather to Benjamin already. I mean, you guys have filled a role family in our lives, and we couldn't be more thankful for that.
Yeah. The time bomb is ticking, so I just wanted to say thank you so much. You have truly become family, and even more than that, you look like a family. The church exists to be the family of God, and you embody that. And so we had something really easy and beautiful to walk into, and we are so, so thankful to be a part of it. So thank you so much for who you are.
Thanks, guys. Why don't you guys give them a round of applause? Thanks for being here.